Hello, everybody. Jason Pickle here, founder of Volunteer Botanicals. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with one of my really good friends, Justin Hempleton. Justin is one of the largest hemp players in the Carolinas. He runs Hempleton Investment Group. He is the president and CEO. And Hempleton is doing a lot of really interesting and exciting things with a vertically integrated platform. They're rolling out products that the market's never seen. And they're really looking at this in a very strategic way. It's exciting to have Justin on today to speak with his new tablet line. It's getting a lot of press. And Justin is a great human being. We met probably a little over a year and a half ago at a medical cannabis summit. And I think we both saw really eye to eye about where this industry could go. And Justin, really happy to talk to you today about your new brand and your new tablet line and kind of where you see this industry going. So thanks for taking a few minutes to chit chat with me today.
Oh yeah, thank you very much, Jason. Glad to jump on.
Absolutely.
Well, definitely mutual.
Yeah, thank you. And tell the group that we're going to be broadcasting to, tell me a little bit about your background, why you started the Hempleton Investment Group, how you saw this unfolding, over the course of years and where you see yourself going. And then we'll talk a little bit about this new tablet project you have going on.
Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. So in 2008, 2009, we started dabbling in some marijuana investments out west. It was more of just loaning money and getting to see the program evolve. In 2014, we saw the Farm Bill pass, and we knew enough about cannabinoids at that point to really dive in on the East Coast when the programs were new and just now forming, and make some really strategic investments. One of those being the Hemp Farmacy, which is our retail front. That has allowed us to not only make revenue in the retail sector, but also it is a playground for data. We're pulling tons of data from those locations about the development of new product as we introduce and went from more of a broad spectrum oils into full spectrum oils. And now, like you mentioned earlier, our Prolifera product, which is introducing a instant release tablet to the consumer in a deliverable that they're used to and accustomed to. It's much different than the early days of just tinctures and edibles being our only options.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the market evolve and being able to, we're really on the bleeding edge of this new technology and new cannabinoids. And it's exciting to see all of these new types of products that, like the ones that you're building, come actually into fruition. It's something I think that those of us that have been in cannabis for longer than the last couple of years knew it was eventually going to happen. And now we're getting more access to different cannabinoids and different delivery forms. And like you said, we're actually reaching customers where they are today and not asking them to do something that might be outside of their comfort zone.
Yes, and I think definitely we're reaching the point of a maturity in the industry in itself, that the consistency of product is there. The manufacturing of these new pills and other products are much better than early years in this industry.
Absolutely. That means it's a bright future for all of us, right? I've been talking with a lot of folks and kind of referencing the past 5 years of the industry and then the next 5 years of the industry. And I think COVID drew a line in the sand. It really allowed people to realize that, there's a lot of factors out there we can't control, but it also gave us all a little bit of time to take a breath and look at this from a more creative way and how we push the industry forward rather than how do we live in the paradigm of the past. And I think you're doing just that. It's exciting to think about where we're going and things that we haven't done just yet. So kudos to you and your forward thinking.
Well, thank you very much. And to you as well, Volunteer. You guys are the ones manufacturing the pills. So I know we talk about this all the time, but we're in a whole conversation all the time that just feels like it's getting farther and farther removed from that old hemp practice and old hemp ways that we were used to in the first 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. And you use a tagline a lot that it really resonates with us is farm to pharmacy. Tell us a little bit about your thought about that, your approach to building products, because I know you have farms, you have extraction systems. So you're really looking at this from the ground up and how to control the system all the way through to ensure you have the highest quality products. So when you say farm to pharmacy, what do you mean?
We were really, prior to hemp, I've owned agritourism farms, and we had farms producing vegetables for the farm to table movement for local restaurants here in Wilmington. And so the farm to pharmacy just kind of naturally evolved from that farm to table approach that we were used to. And we now grow and produce everything from our research farm and our production farms, extraction facilities, to the actual retail outlets where we sell those products. As the industry has matured and our abilities have matured, we now are offering like best price guarantees, and we're able to transfer a lot of that savings from a vertical model directly to the consumer.
And that's a really nice thing to think about, because I believe, again, the past paradigm really has been, how can I get the highest margin? And now people are working a little bit smarter, saying maybe it's okay to make a little less money, but just work a little bit smarter and control costs. And so the consumer can actually access these medicines at a price point that actually makes sense to them.
Yes, definitely. And this is a business now of repetitive repeat customers. So the days of 25 new to CBD customers storming the stores are really over. And now you're earning those through medical referrals. You're earning those through some other trusted customers to pick up those new clients, and then that repeat business that come to you every month for that supplement. That is really the backbone of our company.
I love it. I think that's so fantastic. And it's, it's a new way to look at things, right? It's a new paradigm. And I believe that, yes, we have a core set of customers that we're all trying to reach. But the caveat, I think that the code we're trying to break is, how do we also reach these new customers that we know cannabinoids can be a real powerful tool to them, and maybe in a form factor that's a little bit more familiar to them. I know my mother, for example, isn't a big fan of tinctures, but if I can build her a good capsule and it works for her, she'll take it every day. So,
Right.
That being said, I feel like there's a lot of customers still on the sidelines, and, your instant release tablets that are built by you, designed by you, that have specific cannabinoids and compounded them back together to hit higher robust ratios of the minors or terpenes, for example. To me, they speak directly to that customer. And I'm excited to see, once these actually get out fully into the market, the types of clients and the distribution model that can expand through this now. Because I could see this is the product that sits on Walgreens. This is the product that sits next to the register at a pharmacy. Do you see it that way as well?
We do, and we released it early into our models for that early data. Basically, we wanted to learn how fast each individual minor cannabinoid sells, and to be able to predict some of those sales before the major release. But all that infrastructure is in place now. CBN has just been a out of the gate winner as far as a home run product for the consumer. They're coming back. We're seeing that every 30 days, they're coming back and buying that like they would a prescription or some form of a medicine. So that is exactly what we're looking for, is that repeat customer. And then you mentioned earlier the terpenes. And so our CBD product line, Prolifera's CBD instant release tablet, is formulated from our Carolina's Hope formula from our early days that we have all this data around, which we knew it was the top seller as a tincture. And so me and you were able to put that into an instant release tablet. And now the conversion rate when you present that CBD peel to a customer who's been buying a tincture every month is growing every month, as the more and more that see that it's that same formula now and a much more familiar delivery mechanism, they're jumping on board. We're nearly 20% conversion rates now in the store on those existing Carolina Hope customers.
That's so cool. It's so great to hear. It's, it's interesting to see that real time, and I respect your approach of not just throwing this out into the market without really data behind it to understand understand the model and understand the customers and how they're responding to these capsules and tablets. Now, I was real excited to build that CBD product. I mean, we were really excited, just your whole plan of compounding CBD back with CBG and CBN and hitting specific ratios. But that CBD product that had a true cherry wine hemp terpene, I mean, that was derived from your plants and distilled out, and to be able to take that and powderize it and back in for that super robust terpene profile I was really surprised. And I think it's a fantastic and a very smart addition to that CBD standalone product.
Yeah, we were, I remember when we were packaging that product, when the bags were opened, the entire production room knew there were terpenes in that product for
Absolutely.
sure. So
Isn't that wild?
it was very fresh. And with the blister packaging, we were able to keep those fresh directly to the consumer. So we've had a really good response from
Absolutely.
those deals.
That's great to hear. And so that being said, you've got farms, you've got some extraction systems, you're building your own products with your own materials. It sounds like you have your own Hemp Farmacy franchise stores. How many of those operations, or the actual physical brick and mortar locations, do you have? And are you looking to expand that out? I know at one time you talked about actually expanding out, pump the brakes a little bit for COVID. Where are you guys in that process? And if somebody potentially has some interest to be part of your system, is franchising back on the table?
Yes, so that's a great point. COVID, we released about 3 months prior to COVID hitting the market. We opened a new one in Alpharetta, Georgia during COVID. We decided whenever COVID happened to pause. Let's see how that new store opened. Let's see what the impacts are to our franchise model. And so we learned a lot. I mean, right now, to be completely honest, about 40% of our portfolio was in downtown environments. And the government buildings are still boarded up in a lot of cities, and a lot of cities border universities, and now those universities aren't in school. So those particular locations took the brunt of COVID and still continue to be underperforming where they were pre-COVID. We had already started to shift into freestanding large franchise models, and we're in proof of concept. We had bought our location here in Wilmington, which is our flagship model. We now are getting ready to expand that franchise drastically on the East Coast in 2021 and 2022. We now have that data, know what to duplicate, and offer that franchisee a couple choices as to what fits their needs the most. But we'll be raising capital through Hempleton, and we released that in May, and we'll be acquiring some new larger franchise locations.
That's awesome. That's great. And up to this point, you've really kind of kept your ecosystem intact. And I know you've been building data. You're smart about how you've gone out with this rollout of your system. And now you've compiled data. You're seeing that these specific products might be trending a little bit higher than others or provide a new opportunity for growth. So that being said, your new brand Prolifera, that you've kind of been in the beta test, we'll call it, phase, and now you're moving into commercializing it. Is that a product that if somebody else wanted to carry it or distribute it or, put it into their model, are you at a point where you're willing to take on some of those wholesale accounts or distributor accounts yet?
Yes, we basically in the last 60 days have got everything in place to now offer those wholesale and distribution accounts. So that we are ready for distribution there. We're already seeing some smaller wholesale accounts, people who follow some of our retail locations and carry some of the newer products we bring on are starting to carry Prolifera. We are now looking at compounding pharmacies, and some of the medical referrals that we get actually are interested in carrying some of these products in office. So they're a little bit more receptive to these style of products than they were tinctures and roll-on topicals and things like that.
Yeah, and I think, to me, that's intriguing and exciting, right? Because it's really back to what I talked about earlier, is the past 5 years and the next 5 years. And if you can take products and put them into a delivery form that is controllable, that's metered out, like you've been mentioned to me in the past with some people with your tablets, they might buy the CBD CBNs and the CBDs and snap them in half. You have a breaker bar there. So it allows people to say, I'm going to take 25 megs rather than the full 50 dose, or play around with that and finding their own personalized fit is, to me, we believe in personalizing cannabinoids. Cannabis is a plant that I feel like you can't prescribe it. It's not a one size fits all. It truly is kind of a self-discovery plant. And having these deliverables in a form like that, where people can begin that process without having to wonder, is it a 500 milligram, or is it this, or is it that? It gives people just a new paradigm, I think, to view this plant and play with the different cannabinoids to find what works for them. And I'm excited to see what that means, because if you move into those compounding pharmacy models and some of these new distribution avenues that aren't necessarily hemp store related, you're going to really open up to a new customer base that hasn't maybe even tried a tincture before.
Yes, and I think those are the untapped demographic we're looking for right now. I think that there is a certain portion of the population they're not going to go to a smoke shop and even a hemp store. They're going to feel a little uncomfortable about that. That older demographic is already what we see in the store, and so I think that there's a hidden portion that you'll reach through those compounding pharmacies and those doctors' offices.
Yeah, and it's my mom, right? Like I mentioned before, it's the people that I feel like need the cannabinoids the most. My mom would never step foot into a hemp dispensary. On the opposite end, right, for pharmacists or doctors or chiropractors or those kind of brands that would look at this product, it also makes it easy for them, right? So they don't have to worry about which tincture do I carry, which one do I have to tell them to take. So it cuts a lot of the guesswork out and keeps it more familiar and keeps it simpler, not only for the consumer, but also for the organization or group that might be selling it that might not be too cannabinoid savvy, so to speak.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of that weirdness with the FDA and how do you coach people on dosage? I mean, all of that is kind of removed. I mean, it's self-explanatory. There's 30 pills in each package, and so that customer usually understands that from previous products. So
yeah,
we're really excited about this product and what it does. And like you mentioned earlier, the different color coding of the cannabinoids. Being able to see those in a pill counter and use the breaker bar and combine different cannabinoids. That's one of the main motivators for creating this product. And I'm excited to hear from customers how they're doing that and experimenting on their own. And I think that information and that data will lead to a lot of future formulations for me and you and information for future products.
And in that, it's kind of cool being able to get data back in real time, gauge that data, weigh it, and then be able to reapply it into new form factors. That's, to me, it's like science in real time. And, I think that's where people like you and I live for that opportunity. And, we're in the business to help people, and to be able to have that kind of control to understand what is working and what's not working and make tweaks on the fly and changes to a formulation. It just really keeps us ahead of the curve and keeps these products exciting. It's not just the same old deliverable. And I mean, kudos to your marketing team, whoever designed those beautiful boxes, the blister packing that goes in it. I mean, when they're sitting on the shelf, if anybody that's watching this video needs to go, is it shopprolifera.com? Is that right? Shop Prolifera.
Yeah.
Check these products out. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. They've been well thought out. They have the molecule printed on the front. They have a view window of the tablet so you can see it. It's blister packed professionally. It's something that could sit in a doctor's office or sit in a hemp pharmacy. And I don't know, it's to me, it's going to take, I think, the country by storm, and it's really going to pique people's interest of, oh, I didn't know that this kind of thing was even possible. So kudos to you and your team for not only building a cool product, but positioning it in a way that it really is going to set itself apart from most other products on the shelf.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much, Jason. It's definitely already in our small circle, our small little ecosystem of stores. It stands out. It's something totally different and customers are responding. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to adding some of the new formulations on in the upcoming months and expanding that line now into more ingredients other than just cannabinoids. And I think that the market, the cannabis industry in general, is making that shift, and we're leading the charge. So we're
absolutely
excited.
Absolutely. And that brings me to another quick point I'll touch on just to kind of pique people's interest. If you're looking about carrying some of Justin's products with the Prolifera line, when you go online to shopprolifera.com, you'll see what they're running with now. Where they have another tablet that's about to hit. And we're also in talks right now of developing a capsule line that's a more supplement based that would be targeted specifically towards the ailments or the needs of a specific client. So instead of it being maybe a cannabinoid heavy, it could be heavy in other vitamins and nutraceuticals and supplements. Once we powderize these cannabinoids, we can compound them back into whatever ratio we want to hit not only robust profiles, but adding in vitamins and nutraceuticals that are really targeting the needs of a customer, whether that target is pain, in immunity, inflammation, sleep, restlessness, anxiety. You know, we all know what people are struggling with the most. And I love the idea of you wanting to put a capsule now together that increases the flexibility of what you're doing, but also gives a customer a very clear path on what to pick. If they don't know what to pick, they might know that, well, you know, I get anxiety at night. And if I could have something that really calmed me down before bed, or, you know, I could use something that's more uplifting. CBD makes me really tired. You know, well, you have this product now that potentially has all these great B6 vitamins and zinc and vitamin C. It's just to me, we believe cannabinoids are ingredients. I think they're great as a standalone product, but when you compound them back in with other terpenes and other cannabinoids and other vitamins, they take on a new shape and a new life. And so that'll be part of your Prolifera Plus line that I know we've just been brainstorming about. But seems like you're always innovating and always kind of pushing the needle forward. You're never resting on your laurels.
Yeah, we don't rest around here, that's for sure. The industry changes so fast, you've got to be able to change with it.
Yeah.
And we're really excited about the new capsule lines and what 2021 is going to be. We're just excited to have 2020 behind us.
Oh my God, aren't we all? Aren't we all? So is it safe to say that you're in a mode that sounds like you're back to expansion mode again? I think we all took a deep breath last year, played good, smart business decisions. And it seems like we're even feeling it on our side. People are excited. They're ready to get the industry moving again. There's certain level of, I feel like, movement right now that we haven't seen in quite some time. And I don't know if people are just antsy from sitting around the house too long, or this really is, I think, a resurgence of moving through old dead inventory and kind of looking at it with fresh eyes again. Are you feeling the same thing?
Yeah, we are. We're back up to growing. We're about 20% growth rate right now,
Right.
Which coming out of COVID is pretty good. We're expanding our territories and locations, and here in Q1 and Q2, that should put a good finish onto 2021, and we're really excited about it. The momentum is there, like you say. We can feel it in the customers, we can feel it in the employees. The industry is brewing again. Had a conversation with HIA earlier, and that they're feeling that momentum and are excited about 2021 as well.
Beautiful. So is it safe to say that you're open to franchise opportunities, you're open to wholesale opportunities, you're open to that expansion portion again, that if people have an interest in what you're doing, or potentially want a well put together brick and mortar store with lots of options, because you have bolt-ons for all sorts of other additions to this, whether it's, you know, wellness centers and skincare. I mean, there's so much you guys are doing that are in addition to just the Hemp Farmacy model. Is it a point where if people do have interest in beginning to build out their own version of what you're doing, you're ready to get franchising again?
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to take those applications. We're now reaching back out to the people who have been applying over the last 8 months for the pause during COVID. So you should see a lot of new franchise locations starting to come up this year. Not just franchise locations, but also corporate locations as well.
Oh, good. Great. Okay, so that's good to know. And let's say folks want to carry this Prolifera product or your products in general. You said you're ready to start moving those out of your own ecosystem and potentially wholesaling and distributing these into larger ecosystems. What's a good way for folks to get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about these products or potentially carry them? Can just Jim and Joe's hemp store, can you work with someone on that level, or does it need to be a much larger distribution level?
Yeah, so we'll work with anybody, the small wholesale clients, all the way up to the bigger distributors. Everything will be tier based in the beginning. And once those accounts are set up, they'll receive better and better pricing as the cost of production on the boxes you mentioned with the die cuts and things like that start to come down. We'll be passing those savings along. We're also introducing a combo deal for 2021 where customers can pick and choose multiple cannabinoids that they purchase individually and get the same pricing as buying them together. So there's a lot of different things that are coming out in the next quarter. But we are ready, and East Coast Pharmacies is our distribution arm. That's an 11,000 square foot facility here in Wilmington. They have the product in the shelves. They also will be introducing the product in bulk. So if people don't want to carry it as Prolifera and they want to white label those into their own, we will sell those pills in bulk containers as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They want to keep their brand and their stamp on their products. So I think that's an excellent opportunity because, as you and I know, putting together custom products from the ground up, from concept to fruition, isn't easy. And a lot of people think it is, and it's not. So this would allow someone to come in and take all the work that you've put together and be able to just rebrand it and run with it.
Yeah, and there's so many different distribution options out there that we want to be able to reach those. We will do a powered by Prolifera, so we will have that stamp on there so customers can trust in the manufacturing process. But we think there's a lot of opportunities for people putting these in, say, a bottle rather than the blister packaging. They would be able to offer their own version of the product.
Oh, I see. So they could buy the tablets in bulk. They wouldn't necessarily need to be blister packed. They could repackage and run with it any way they see fit, whether they sell it in a 2-pack or a 30-pack.
That's correct. Yeah. And the blister packaging is definitely a big challenge for us. And so moving forward, I think some of those smaller mom and pop hemp shops like you were talking about, they really love that white label opportunity. Even doctors' offices and chiropractors love to put their name on that bottle.
Yeah.
Just so that customer is returning to them to buy it rather than going to the e-commerce platform and buying it from us directly and then losing the sale.
Yeah.
So we support that. We understand how that works. So we are preparing to offer that here in just the next 30 days. But Prolifera right now in bulk is ready for distribution.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's say somebody who watches this video says, I want to learn more about these tablets and the other offerings that Justin has with the Prolifera brand. Where should they go if they want to begin to start getting some data from your guys about pricing and those kind of models? What should they do?
So Hempleton.com is our main portfolio hub. People can kind of cruise through that website to gain access to different divisions and areas that they want to learn more about or contact people. East Coast Pharmacies is the distributor. I believe shopprolifera.com will have wholesale options on there, so the customer never even has to leave that platform to actually establish an account for just that product. East Coast Pharmacies distributes about 150 different SKUs, and so whenever a person goes through that division, they'll gain access to your typical tinctures and gummies and all that stuff, as well as Prolifera.
Great. So you can actually be a larger source of the products that you're creating outside of the Prolifera brand because you've been doing that side of it for much longer anyway. So they actually, by getting into a distribution model with you, they not only have access to Prolifera, but everything that East Coast Pharmacies creates, which I know is a myriad of fantastic products. So that's great. That's a great tool to offer.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we started that early. We were lucky enough to build the distribution center prior to having as many stores, just on the anticipation, and that's worked out really well for us. It's debt free, where we got a lot of clean rooms. We've got rocket boxes for flower production. So there's a lot of products that are produced in house that are offered for really competitive prices to those wholesale accounts.
Great. Well, that's fantastic. It really sounds like you got all your ducks in a row. What does this mean for you moving forward? What are the next steps for you? Obviously, I see you're back in expansion mode. So you're in a growth position. Does that mean, what does that mean?
So our new investment strategy in 2021, just like any franchise, a big portion of franchising is real estate.
Mhm.
And right now, with the commercial real estate sector taking a hit through COVID, we see that as a really big opportunity.
Mm.
So we're going to be raising capital to do proof of concept and acquire multiple new locations to be building out that franchise model and then reselling it once it's completed. That is one of the, when you're working with a franchisee from the ground up and not having to identify existing real estate and work them through that construction process, that can be timely.
Mm.
Whereas our team moves much more quickly and efficiently through navigating the real estate sector, and we're able to identify those quickly, remodel them, and get them up and running to up to our standards and policies, and then turning that over is a simpler process. So we'll be doing a lot of those in 2021 and 2022. And then we're still open for those conversations. If somebody wants to identify their own property, of course, we can't move fast enough to be in every city. So we're more than happy to have that franchisee, and they just have to go in understanding that it may take a little bit of time to find and identify that correct location prior to build out.
Well, and I think the great thing that you offer people is you've already been doing it, right? So you've got some data and you've got a structure that works, and you've been able to probably pick and choose portions of the model that you want to move forward and other things that you might leave behind. So having that kind of guidance, I think setting up a system like this is really important, because I think a lot of people who go into the franchise mode just go for the quickest path. And it sounds like to me, you guys have really put a lot of thought in how these things are going to roll out. And the more successful, obviously, your franchisees are, the more successful everyone is. So sounds like partnering with someone like the Hempleton Group in the build out of their own systems of your franchise is really a safe bet, or a better bet than trying to go it alone, because they're actually working with some of the previous data and a great set of entry products.
Yeah, with 4 years of data and
Yeah.
I'm now in a position where I'm using a lot of the skills that I developed 20 years ago in the real estate business, and weaving that into the hemp and cannabis space. So I'm really excited about what that's going to do for Hempleton over the next couple of years, and we should be able to acquire real estate at pretty good prices in the current market, which will offer us a great foundation over the next few years to grow.
Yeah, extremely well said. And what a neat way to look at it, right? Is merging one of your old lifetimes of real estate and the data of buying and selling and procuring at good price points, and setting up systems that not only build for a good commercial front, but also build for a good long-term investment is absolutely genius, my friend. So well thinking that out. And sounds like to me too. What if someone wanted to partner with you and invest with you? Is that something you guys are open to?
Yeah, we'll release the formal offering on May 1st, but basically a little insider or early information is there's 17 positions open this coming raise. And so investors just need to contact us, and we will offer that May 1st formally and close as quickly as possible. Right now, we're taking early commitment letters for that raise.
Awesome. Man, do you ever sleep, Justin?
No, man. I've always been a night owl, so this business is perfect for me. The demands are high, and keeps me active.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of plates spinning, and it sounds like you're doing a good job balancing all of these things. Is there anything else that you'd like to touch on today? Again, kudos to a successful commercial rollout of your Prolifera line. Kudos to the infrastructure that you've really put a lot of thought and energy and love into. I know you're a good person. I know you care about the plant, and I know you care about people. So it's one of the main reasons I've always liked talking to you and working with you is just not only your business acumen, but your integrity and who you are as a human. And so anybody that takes some time to get to know Justin or work with his team, I think you'll find the same thing. A man of high integrity and high morals, and someone who really cares about people in the plant. And if you're going to get into the cannabis space and you need a little bit of help, I would say lean on Justin and his team. There's a lot of different ways that you can get involved through the Hempleton Group. And the simplest way to reach out, like they said, was through Hempleton.com, EastCoastPharmacies.com, or Shop Prolifera to check those products out. Justin, did I miss anything today before we wrap this up?
No, that sounds great, Jason. And I want to thank you again for having me on today, and also for all your help in making Prolifera happen. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, and we always say at Volunteer Botanicals, cooperation is the new competition. And I think the old paradigm of I want to be the biggest and the best and I don't need anybody else is gone. And I think that was dangerous for our industry. And I think it's the love for the plant, the love for humanity, and the love for what potential that this stuff is going to bring to our whole species, both plants and animals and humans. There's just so much potential and so much love there. And it's being able to put these plans together and put vision into action and manifest it out in the form of a product is really exciting. So it was our pleasure working with you, and I know we're going to do a lot of projects moving forward, but I just wanted to make sure folks really understood what you were up to, because I know it's definitely a story worth telling. So thanks for taking the time to run through this with me today. I think people are really going to get a kick out of everything you have going on. And again, check out these tablets, shopprolifera.com. They're absolutely beautiful. East Coast Pharmacies to get an idea of the other products Justin can offer to you. And then franchising through the Hemp Farmacy. I mean, you got all the boxes checked. So well done, my friend. And anybody else, you can reach out to me through volunteerbotanicals.com, and our telephone number is directly on there if you have any questions about the Prolifera line or any of the technology that we use to help co-create it with Justin. Other than that, Justin, thank you, my friend. I hope you have a great weekend. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and tell your story about getting all this hard work, getting all this to market, and really building a quality infrastructure for the future.
Thanks a lot, Jason. It's great talking to you. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, brother. Have a good one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.